What's up, everyone? Waffle Dog here. I'm coming at you with a new collab with two of my alliance mates, ObscureGent and TheWink. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Not much. How's it going, Gent? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're here. We each came up with our own list of a top 5 overrated Marvel Strike Force tunes, and let's just get right into it, guys. Wink, why don't you start us off with your number 5 real quick?
Corvus Glaive.
Corvus Glaive. All right.
Because I feel that unless you're running him with Proxima Midnight, he's literally just purely only a damage character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always nice to have some usage, like some control effects while doing damage. And he has none, except for his basic, which can remove positive effects.
Yep.
But usually it's the only way it's useful is if he's with Proxima for the double tap on that.
Yeah, and as Black Order falls off more and more with all these other OP characters coming out, it just continues to be more and more true. He's really just pure damage on that team, except for that strip on basic.
Real quick, he's extremely brittle too. I mean, he does have that stealth mode, but the problem is, he may be last person standing on a team if you're doing a raid, but he gets eliminated quick. So yeah, without Proxima or especially the Black Order, he's useless. I agree.
Yeah, where I got him at, kind of a basic level of G14 5 red. It's 33,000 damage, but only 223,000 health. So, like you said, He's a glass cannon. It's a good point.
Exactly. I'll start off with Carnage. Now, I know a lot of people might be, why Carnage is the best. He makes us go faster. My problem is, in the later games with DD4, Doom Rage, things like that, he's not adding that speed that you need, that he does provide, that made him this god tier character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he can he move a bleed or two? Yes. Can he move some things? Yes. But he's not doing much. I mean, at least the speed, you get speed downs from Scream and whatnot. Just Carnage at those later game points, I just feel is a liability, if anything, and you can replace him with someone stronger, better. I think Venom in the Doom Raids actually more costly, but gets that defense up for you. So bringing in Carnage, yes, it's going to make things slightly easier, but I think he's extremely overrated at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts on that, Wink?
I completely agree, and as you'll see later, I got my own points about Carnage.
Yeah, he's really just the passive of that team, and that's not applicable anymore, like y'all said, for these raids where everyone's health pool is ridiculous. They're all 7 red, 300,000 power enemies. He's really just fallen off the face of the earth as far as that goes.
And I think people really loved Carnage in the beginning, mostly because at the time Asgard was the wall. I mean, you could not get past an Asgard, and once everyone realized, hey, even before Spider-Man, before Anti-Venom came out and Scream, people were saying, well, if you just do this trick with Carnage and you can make. So yes, I get why there was that hype, but as Asgard fell off, so did Carnage, in my opinion.
Yep, exactly. Speaking of falling off a cliff in terms of relevancy, this is kind of like my most expected to be on this list, probably at number 5. It's Captain Marvel. I've invested heavily into her because, at one point she was the plug-and-play nuke tune, but now she's just not that. And as we progress further into the meta, we got characters like Silver Surfer and Kestrel, who not only nuke as good as her, but also have utility to boot. It's just like, where does she even stand in this game? Thoughts?
Hey, yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, power creep totally took her out, and yeah, she's good for a surprise win in a war, but other than that, I don't see any place for her in any other parts of the game.
Yeah, I never use her in raids. That's never really been a thing.
I just pulled 6 red on her yesterday.
I saw that.
Yeah.
First upgrade to a 6 red star, and I got a lot of use out of her. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, she was great, but as they start introducing more and more tunes that have just more usages for them, she's just now just sitting there on a shelf, and oh shit, I have nobody. I guess I'll use her.
Hey, when the max was 75 and G14, she was fully maxed for me with all T4s and 6 red upgrade that I also did manually. Like, she is a forgotten beast at this point.
Pretty much.
She's just kind of a wet noodle. All right, so let's bring it all the way back around to you, Wink. Who you got at number 4?
Now, this one's going to surprise some people because I'm only putting this character on this list for what they were brought to the game for. Yellowjacket for DD4. That team was supposed to be the DD4 global pick when he really only is there for one reason, and I couldn't disagree more that you should never upgrade Yellowjacket.
Yep.
In the Greek raid where you have to use Pim Tech, Yellowjacket's always one of the first ones to die, and he has the extra health steal with the drain, and he still never seems to be able to stay on his feet. So, to me, severely overrated.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I pulled 6 red stars on almost all of my Pim Tech, and yes, he almost does nothing. I mean, he has that cool move where if you kill someone, you get to attack again, but that is barely helpful in that Greek raid.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hyped up so much, and people even gave that excuse of, well, him and Ghost are great on the team, and I would say Ghost is great on the team. Yeah, but yeah, he was oversold to us, and I was happy to pull 6 red stars on him, and then sad to know that he is garbage like the rest of them.
Yes.
Hey, just for the record, I do like the way his character model looks, though.
He's badass.
Oh,
I just wanted to throw that in there. But outside of that, don't waste your time.
Yeah. I wasted my time on this team, and they're all at least G13. So, pour one out for the homie over here with his horribly over-leveled Pim Tech. Thankfully, Ghost ended up being great. But yeah, Yellowjacket, except for that ult, really the only time that ult really feels like it hits like a train is when you're facing him in Doom Raid in the tech section on that second node.
Yes.
That's the only. That's like what they.
The Doom Raid on the tech section. Good for you.
No. The enemy one. The one that ults like, you and kills all your Ultron bots. Yeah, that's the only Yellowjacket in the game that's actually good.
That's what I hate about the Doom Raids is these characters that you don't give a crap about you're afraid of them, and it's like, great. I'm looking at Yellowjacket. I'm like, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird reprioritizing a little bit for the damage dealers that just do insane damage in those raids and nowhere else. So who do you got for number 4, Gent?
I'm going to go with I know a character me and Wink both loved out the gate, Black Bolt. And I know he is probably going to become more relevant later with the Heroes for Hire again, possibly. But Black Bolt was a staple to everybody, and everybody loves Black Bolt. Everyone loved that little burp he does. He came in handy in U7. But as with power creep, I just feel he's used as a second stringer, if anything, on bio nodes and whatnot. Yeah, if a couple symbiotes die, bring in Black Bolt and a Yo-Yo. But at this point, I'm not seeing a lot of him until maybe the red stars come back on Ultron and more people start using Ultron more. But right now, I would say he is overrated, unfortunately.
Yeah, very true. Sad to say that he's going to be topped by Colleen Wing for damage whenever she comes into the game. So, sad day for Black Bolt, where he's no longer the highest damage. It's not Doom.
Yeah, and seeing Mobile Gamer use him with Kestrel was insane. So I know I'm saying that he's overrated, but at that point, if you put him on a team with her, it's like, wow. It's too powerful. But again, it's not just because of Black Bolt. But now when I face Black Bolt, I'm not really that scared like I used to be back when he first came out.
Any thoughts on that, Wink?
I actually have to disagree with you because I still think that, now don't get me wrong, he is definitely taking a step back. I do agree that he's taken a step back from being the number 1 damage character, because say when you compare Black Bolt to Silver Surfer, just because of his speed difference between him and Black Bolt, Surfer's obviously a better character. But I do not regret it all with my Black Bolt because I'm still using him in Arena now that I have Doom. He still does what he's supposed to. And have you guys ever had that match where you're playing with a random 5 characters and you drop one of them below 20% health, and then you're waiting for the burp, and then you go, oh wait, Black Bolt's not on my team? That's always going to be something that I will always love about that character. And again, this is only our opinions, but I still think Black Bolt's great. But I understand your guys' reasonings, and he is definitely starting to slowly come down. But but I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of the things that are making him irrelevant are also making him relevant again.
Yes.
And with the red stars for Ultron, Black Bolt's definitely going to go back into the meta because I think Ultron's going to jump back up into a top 10 character once he gets to however many red stars they let him get to. Could you imagine people with a 7 red star Ultron?
Oh, I really hope that never happens. I think for now it's a max of 3.
I'm hoping they stop him at like 4 or 5 at the most. But could you just think about that? You're going to need Black Bolt again.
Yeah.
No, you definitely will, and that's why I don't regret my 6 red star Black Bolt or anything that I've put into him. I love everything that he's done for me, and hopefully he'll come back in the past. But just as of now, it's like he's one of those toys that you love, but he just sits there a little dusty. And until then, I gotta say he does not hold ups.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you.
Anyways, speaking of objectively good characters that are still on this list, my number 4 is Mr. Sinister. And this came at a really funny time because I put this on the list before we knew what Kestrel's passive is. And now that we know what her passive does, this makes so much sense. There's finally someone that can stop him from cloning.
Yeah, I would have probably argued with you a little bit more had Kestrel's kit not come out and we've seen what she can do. But yeah.
Yeah, it makes me real sad because I have all T4s on him, G15, level 5 ISO healer. But, man, if they put any I think, Wink, you said this, if they put any Kestrels into Dark Dimension 5, yeah, that's going to be real bad.
There's going to be some on the nodes where you can use Phoenix, and there's going to be some on the nodes where you can use Sinister.
That's diabolical, man. That's absolutely diabolical.
I'm already calling it.
Yeah, when you said that earlier, I thought, that's exactly what they're going to do. This character, while we're all celebrating how awesome she is, also just know they're going to use her against us.
Well, think of it this way. In the Doom raids on the tech nodes, when everything was always on my tech section, most of my guys are villains. And how many Black Bolts pop up on those nodes? 3 or 4?
Yep.
It's going to be the same thing with Kestrel for the nodes where you can use Sinister and Phoenix. So technically, I honestly think we could add Phoenix to this list as an honorable mention because she just got pooped on.
Yeah, give her an honorable mention for all of our lists because she really did. It's funny because people just started putting her on defense in War 2 and nope.
Yeah, and it happens more and more every time I get sad. And for me, I'm like, no, she's still good, guys. She's still good. I'll use her against Mercs. It's fine.
Anyways, any more thoughts on Sinister before we move on to the number 3 spot and bring her back around?
Honestly, the one thing that kills Sinister too, even before Kestrel, is his speed.
Yep. Yeah.
Being at the 100 speed mark is brutal when you're waiting for that first magical turn. And now there's a really straight up hard counter to Sinister is just gross.
I mean, Sinister is a definite all-star when it comes to the Dark Dimension
for now
and whatnot. For now, exactly. For now, but when it comes to any other node, it's like you don't want Sinister on your team. Besides, in the Doom raids, the only time I use them is on that mutant boss node because he's gonna get a better character in there, which is a secondary long shot to just dominate that node. But other than that, the Doom raids, he's a non-factor, and I can see with his speed. He is just a huge Marauders, and now they're becoming the next Asgardians. So
this is very true. That's some foreshadowing, guys.
I don't think it's going to be that bad.
I think it is, personally.
Could be.
Because the last 2 teams that have come out thoroughly destroy Marauders, and the new War Defense team is thoroughly better than them.
With Marauders, you can use, smaller teams. Just like, I used Shadowlands for the first time and punched up big, and I'm like, wow, that actually is true what everyone's saying about them. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Shadowlands are great. I took mine up, and they're now higher than my Uncanny X-Men. So let's get back to the list here. Number 3, Wink, what you got?
I had to put a minion on the list.
Who is
Merc Lt.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. I think it's going to make Gent mad.
Wow.
Now, please hear me out before you rip my head off on this one. I'm not saying Merc Lt. Is a bad character, because in my opinion, he's still one of the best minion characters in the game. But the amount of health that he has is horrible. He is got, I think, the 2nd or the 3rd lowest total health bar in the whole game. And that just kills his usability in almost anything except for War Defense.
Agree, and that's why I like using him. I'm unfortunately using him in city nodes right now, and he could take 1 to 2 hits and then he's done. I mean, I love the energy he feeds and whatnot, and I love the. I mean, it's just that and the offense up. But my problem with him is, and I kind of agree with you. I have him at 6 red stars. He lasts a little bit longer, but without without the war defense upgrades, he's not very good. And I kind of agree with you. I almost regret bringing him into DD4, but at the same time, he was just cheapest for me as well.
To be honest, I think he's a good value because of how cheap he was.
Yeah.
And he gives offense up and speed up to your team.
Yeah, good point.
He's good value, but like you said, he is just a total, he has a total lack of health. Mine's a lowly 3 red at G14, level 75, 7 stars, obviously. And listen, he's got 120,000 health. That's nothing.
At gear 14, that's one shot by Captain Marvel. That's one shot by Black Bolt. That's one shot by...
Compared to my Night Nurse, let me see if I can find her real quick. My Night Nurse sits at 309,000 health, so she can take a beating in Dark Dimension 4 before dying.
Yeah, see, I have both of them, and they both go pretty quickly. Night Nurse has a little bit more sustain at only 4 red stars, but him, G15, 6 red stars, still pretty brittle. I like him, but I definitely can see how he is overrated by a lot of guys. I mean, he much like Glaive, he's part of a puzzle for a full team.
Yeah, kind of struggles on his own outside of it. So, what do you got for your number 3, Gent?
Well, I'm going with the character that I love in the comics. I mean, I love Black Bolt as well. Ghost Rider. I know a lot of people love Ghost Rider. I do love his bleeds. I love the damage he can cause. I just feel he's just not as useful as everyone brings him out to be. I think this is one of the only characters that I'm talking about that everybody seems to love and said, "Oh, bring this guy up, bring him up. He's great." And while I did like his damage before, I feel he doesn't add to many teams. I mean, I use him in DD4, but he's still just not anyone that. Not that
you have him in DD4.
Not DD4. I'm sorry. In Doom Raids, where I just feel like his tap when someone dies, it's just not coming through as much as it used to, and much like Black Bolt, I feel he was more necessary in lower level modes, but just when it comes to these higher level ones, he's just not producing like he used to for me.
I thought about putting Ghost Rider on this. If we'd have had a top 10, he'd have been in there.
Yeah, and I think most people will speak fondly of Ghost Rider because he's a skull on fire, and who doesn't like a skull on fire wearing a leather jacket riding a motorcycle? So there you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of characters now are dealing piercing damage, and his passive is just flat damage, so maybe that could be part of the equation. I think only his... I thought his special did piercing damage, but it doesn't. Only his ult, and it's
it's a shame because he's great on Supernatural, but the more and more I've been using him, he's fallen off a bit to where he was this unstoppable force, and now he's kind of just like, hey, he's a good character, but just I feel overrated by many.
Yeah, I wish he was better because I did pull 6 red for him, just kind of out of the blue. So it's a shame he's not more
about that
in the meta.
He really loves Ghost Rider, so
he's awesome. He's an awesome character. I can't deny that. Another awesome character that is also on this list for me is the great Emma Frost, sitting at number 3. And this is another one that makes more sense as we see this patch unfold, because she is the leader of one of the former top war defenses, the Marauders, and there's some rumors that she's getting her own team. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but
I could see the Hellfire Club coming eventually.
That would be great, and it would make sense too, because they're getting outclassed entirely by this Heroes for Hire team. Like, whereas it takes just one Shadowlands or X Factor to kill Emma and her Marauders, it's apparently going to take 3 of them to just kill one Heroes for Hire team. So I don't know. I see this as kind of like the last hurrah for Emma. Like, as soon as that whole team is out and they have their 5th member, I'm not sure who's going to be. She's going to kind of be the next, I guess, Hela, because Hela's still good, but she's not as good as she was when she was also the top dog on her own war defense team too.
I still think that Emma, because of her 10% speed bar reduction of the other team, her ult, that's basically a single target nuke, and her special that is a cleanse and apply immunity to all mutant villains, is still a very solid kit overall. But a lot of people think she's one of the best solo characters in the game. I'd say she's in the top 10 to 15 maybe, but not like top 4 or 5.
Yeah, she's definitely fallen off from when she first came out. She's one of the only 2 characters I actually put money into and purchased. And I feel at the beginning she was just an unstoppable force. But like most things, especially in the last few months, they've just released so many characters that are kind of dwarfing her. And she still has her place, but I can definitely see what you mean by now she is kind of getting overrated. But her kit does, like Wink said, does allow her to have some longevity as well.
Yeah, she's still a top tier. She's just not like a god tier anymore. That's kind of my point with this one. She used to be the best solo character. Now there's 3 other characters that I think deserve that spot over her.
Yeah, sadly agree.
Yeah, I did drop some money on this character too.
The power creep is real.
It is very real right now. We are feeling the power creep in full effect. So we're getting towards the top of the list here now. Wink, who you got at number 2?
My number 2 is kind of the same reason that I had for my number 3, just the low amount of health. The Human Torch. So easy to completely erase him from being there on your team when you use him, especially on his own team, unless you're using She-Hulk when there's no tank. Just the epitome of glass cannon.
Exactly.
I mean, his ult when he first came out was touted as this is gonna destroy teams, this is gonna break teams, and they didn't say, but also good luck having him last to actually do the ult, because he gets destroyed before that even happens usually.
Yeah, it should be a second turn, not a third turn.
Yeah, he's definitely been power crept. The only time I ever get any production out of this team on defense is with She-Hulk, who I just got up to 6 stars recently, so she's kind of a harder wall to get past for X-Force and stuff. But yeah, definitely falling off the face of a cliff. Couldn't even be saved by Silver Surfer.
No, because honestly, the one I'd replace from that team would be the Torch.
Yeah, 100%. I took Torch off, and I think I ran Thing, Mr. Fantastic, She-Hulk, and Invisible Woman for a war when Surfer first came out on defense. That was all right. Anyways, Gent, who you got at your number 2?
So my number 2, probably people will disagree with me completely on it, but I have to go with the legendary Shuri. I feel that with
pulled 7 red on her. What is this, gang up on Wink Day?
Basically, before this, I just looked at everyone that you pulled high stars on and said this one. I just want Wink to fill that.
So your number 1's Yelena Belova.
Yes. No, I wish. So Shuri, like I get what she does. I love the energy she provides at the beginning, and I love the defense up she provides with her speed. Her health, I feel it's not as important anymore, and she for me, she's great for that first round attack, and then it's done. It's over. Her usefulness is done. She gets killed easily. I only have 4 red stars on her. Maybe that's why. I've never been that big of a fan of hers since the beginning, and I know everyone has been. I just never have liked her. I've liked other characters way more than her. So this is just me being bitter at people with higher red star Shuris that love the hell out of her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like this character too.
I'm just not a fan. Like, yes, I like when she feeds Ghost energy when fighting in the Doom raids. I love that. That's the only time I love her. The rest of the match, I hate her. Her basic, I hate everything. So there you go.
As someone with Doom, Wink, how important is having Shuri for your arena defense to give him that energy?
If it lands that way, there's been times when I've had my arena defense last for like where I hit my last attack to number 1 with like 25 minutes left, and then by the time my reset comes up for the reward payout, I'm still in the top 5.
Damn.
So I'm not going to say Shuri's overrated, and it's not just because I have 7 red on her, which happened yesterday, so I haven't even really get to use it because we were already past the tech lane in Doom. But I still think that she is the second best overall healer in the game right now, because the difference between her and Minerva is Shuri prevents incoming damage more, so she doesn't have to heal as big, and Minerva has the big heal, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I will say she is still pretty squishy though. I've kind of got an average one at 5 red and 78 in G14, and she's not even at 200k health, so yeah, it's some give and take.
When Shuri lasts, like I obviously I love it because I'm able to do it multiple times with the defense up. I'm able to feed some energy. I'm able to heal a little bit. it's great. Times that it doesn't work out and everything goes to hell is because she just all of a sudden just dies, and it's like great.
I've had that problem with, because before I got the 7 red, I had 5 red, but mine's gear 15. So after my second run of Doom, I leveled Shuri up. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, but based on a conversation me and you had, Wink, I was gonna actually bring her up to G15 for the legendary of DD4, but because I pulled a 6 red star on Jubilee, I'm going with Jubilee instead. So
I honestly don't blame you with taking Jubilee over her.
Do that 10 times out of 10. Everyone that's watching, definitely. Jubilee's
broken for that mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then watching one of your previous videos, just looking at the different T4s that you guys put on, I did do her basic, which Jubilee's basic, which I had not done prior, and now I want to do Bishops because that video you guys did with the underrated T4s was pretty damn awesome. So
thanks, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So this is gonna be a quick one for that number 2 for me because it's one we've already gone over before. So I'm just gonna say real quick, it's Black Bolt for all the reasons we stated previously. He is there, and yeah, don't need to go into that anymore because we've already talked about it for a bit. Wink, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is also one we've already talked about, but I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents on it anyway. Carnage. Now, don't get me wrong, not a bad character, but I actually, over Discord one time, got into an argument with one of the big content creators over this game about why. Now, this was before the whole symbiote team came out, but that team has all those negative effects you place on, then Carnage goes and removes them all with his special.
Ugh.
That's the exact opposite thing you want to do when you're running the symbiotes.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Carnage's basic is his second best move, which is a solid basic attack. But his ult is just a stack of bleeds, and his special, like I just said, removes everything you just did to mess up that character. And sometimes it'll kill him, sometimes it won't. There's only 3 times I can think of off the top of my head where his special's amazing. Got a lot of negative effects on a Deadpool. Hey, Carnage's special, here we go. You got a lot of negative effects on the Hulk right before he's about to go and taunt and remove all of them. Hey, here we go. You know what I mean? But other than those 2 guys, and maybe there's a couple others that I'm not thinking. Now Kestrel, because of her healing and removing the negative effects and healing. Right there, you're just looking at it and you're like, hey, I'm just going to remove everything positive I just did to these guys and then call it a day. I just can't get behind Carnage. Now, with that said, though, his passive is probably one of the best full moves on the team. But the rest of his kit is always, to me, been a letdown, even though I have one of the biggest symbiote teams you could possibly make.
Yeah, without his passive, he's pretty much garbage. I mean, if you looked at it, where if you look at Symbiote Spider-Man, all of his stuff are legitimate. Every one of his T4s are legitimate. But when you look at Carnage, if you remove that passive and look at his all the other 3, like you said, the special, it's a joke. The only time I use it is in those specific scenarios you brought up, or if there's nothing to transfer. So instead of the basic, I'll just use that, and it's horrible.
Yeah, and another thing that's really horrible, as someone that's in the middle of DD4, so can't really bring up any tunes that are in the orange gear level, my Carnage sits at level 80 G14, and sometimes in these Doom raids or in the 4.3 raids, he won't even clear all the negative effects, so it won't even do the crazy damage. It's the most useless ability in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Except for those very niche situations, like y'all said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Who do you got for number 1, Gent?
I'm going to go with someone who not everybody talks about him too often, but Baron Mordo. But coming into DD4, a lot of people were suggesting to bring him up. When people say, "Oh, your Supernatural doesn't work," bring Mordo up, and he's going to be great. Put the T4s into him, and I do like him when he works. And talking about brittle characters more so than Shuri or any of them, man, this guy just is brittle as all hell. If everything goes smoothly and perfect, great, love him. But that does not happen every time. It's almost like you flip a coin and hope that on that day Mordo's going to come through for you, because if not, you're done. Yeah. But I just feel Mordo didn't add too much to DD4. I saw a lot of regrets from people bringing him in, and he's not good out of his element.
Yeah, he's not good out of his element at all. I think it's funny that we have a couple supernatural characters on this list because they were kind of filling the hole where we had for like a 10th war team, and now we've had 2 really good war offense teams come out back to back, and now we're really just seeing that supernatural team slide off a cliff until hopefully they get Blade or something in the future.
A lot of people were using Supernatural as like this was their go-to team. This team is solid and can take everyone out. And now we're like, oh man, the Wave 1 Avengers. Let's add Ultron to Supernatural, I guess, because they're not cutting it with these G15 Wave 1 Avengers.
Yeah, really the best version of that team is with Hela, in my opinion. But even then,
if you're running Mordo with Hela, Mordo's pretty solid because he gets ability energy like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But even then, I think Hela's better on either a team with Silver Surfer or a team with Baron Zemo.
Yeah, I really love using her as Astra, or whatever we call them.
High Guard, whatever the hell their name is. Speaking of wars, another war staple right here that's at my number 1 spot is Taskmaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. That hurts my soul.
I knew this one would be the controversial one because I fully admit he's a top tier character, but he's about to get replaced in the war defense meta by this new Heroes for Hire team. He still has all the utility in the world, so I'm not going to say he's useless, but I know the first person coming off of my skill team for Kestrel is Taskmaster. That's partially due to him only being about 97,000. I don't have him past level 75 or the T4 in his ult, but that's just come down to like a gear crunch, and like there's other characters I'd rather have Proxima Midnight at gear tier 15 than Taskmaster. So that was like the choice I made.
And I thought about that, like who would I put Kestrel in for on that team? And I don't want to remove Proxima because I have her at 7 red stars right now, fully decked out. And so I looked at Taskmaster and I'm like, oh god, I want to take him out because I love the hell out of him. I love his blind, obviously. His what's his special?
Stun.
Yeah, I mean it's just I love those moves. So man.
Yeah, he's super good.
I actually will still run Taskmaster over Proxima for my Doom Raid team, but as you guys also know, because this is Gang Up on the Wink Day, the last promotional character I took up to 6 red was Taskmaster.
Yep, I know.
I know, and I was like trying to get you not to do it, and you did it.
I don't regret it at all.
Hey, man.
So he's my favorite skill character in the game. I'm not saying he's the best, because obviously Kestrel's now the best skill character in the game, but Taskmaster is always going to have utility with his blind and his stun. But I can see the point you're making because he's dropping from, well, before this new Heroes for Hire team, Marauders was probably the number 1 defense. I think we can agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2 was Mercenary. So now Mercenary's bumped back down to 3, but it's still a formidable war defensive team. And I think that he's still, one of my favorites to use, especially in like RTA.
Yeah, it's interesting because all the characters I put on my list, I would never say you should regret any of the upgrades you put into them. However, they're all kind of becoming the last meta, and as we progress into this new one.
And most importantly, Taskmaster has a skull face mask, so that's the most important part of why he's so cool.
Yeah, he's totally awesome, and I do not disagree with that. If this was a coolness list, he'd be number 1.
He'd be up there.
There you go. All skulls go up there. Red Skull, I'm talking. All of them.
So we got to go with a Skulls for Hire team?
A Skulls for Hire team, yeah.
But yeah, guys, that's been our each individual lists of the top 5 overrated tunes in Marvel Strike Force. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Guys, I had a good time collaborating. Any final thoughts before we close out?
I just look forward to doing another one of these.
Did you say Kestrel?
Let it be whatever the topic is.
Yes. I look forward to doing more of these, but also not getting Kestrel because she's going to be garbage, guys.
Oh yeah, just don't buy this character that I totally already have sitting right here. Don't get this character. Don't use cores on the campaign. Just leave her for a few people and no one else.
Yeah, or at least don't use her against me in RTA because I die in 5 seconds. I'd really appreciate people just stopped using her in RTA.
Yeah, she's totally not the counter for Doom in RTA or anything, guys. Just forget about her.
Yeah, guys, it's more about the hard work and learning how to use your old tunes.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. That's what this video is all about.
Hey, make Nebula great again. I mean, great for once. I mean,
great. Period. I think that's a great way to close this out. Is on that note, guys. I've been Waffle Dog.
This is Wink.
James.
And we will see you all.
ObscureGent.
You could say it again real quick. I'll cut it up.
No, that's fine. I'm ObscureGent.
All right, I'm just gonna leave it, James. That's funny. All right, guys. We'll see y'all in the next one.